Hello there, guys. This is Dan the Gaffer HD with a new series of Football Manager 2016. So, for those who obviously haven't seen the new FM16, or for those who are new to FM or whatever, this should be good. Obviously, it's your first in look to what Football Manager's like, and uh, you know what the features are like of this game. Obviously, if you have been playing previously and you haven't seen the new one, this is also a chance to have a look at a couple of the new features as well. Um, so I'm just trying to get the camera positioning right. Um, yeah, so we're doing a saving Aston Villa career, obviously, as you can tell by the title. This is purely for this channel. My Twitch will be a completely different series. So this will only be on this channel, and my Twitch will be a whole different series. Anyway, this is more of just this is sorry, just sorting this out. This is more just of an intro, really, to the squad, how the board want us to do, and then going forward, what we want to do. So to start off with, that shouldn't come up. Start off with, we'll go with the squad if that wants to go away. Right, and we'll go by here. So to start off with the keepers, so obviously Brad Guzan. Oh, just keep that there. Brad Guzan. So obviously very good as technically as a goalkeeper. Probably the best, easily the best keeper we've got. Physically, for what a keeper needs, very good. Mentally, very good as well. So he's going to be our starting keeper all year. Our objective is to stay up this season. The board only want us to stay up, so staying up is is the key one this season. And with Guzan, he's a good enough keeper to do that, so not a problem. Next keeper we've got Mark Bunn. Decent keeper. I think if I was to look into his summary, he's probably a good championship keeper, I'd say. Well, there you go. Yeah, decent championship keeper. But nonetheless, probably someone to start in the FA and League Cup. Not that I'm not taking them cup seriously, but yeah, I think he's going to be our cup player. Give Guzan a little break, and he's decent enough to play in those cups as well. Whether it be against the Premier League team or not, I still think he'd be decent enough. But to keep us up this season, probably just not quite there. So keeper wise, depth we're pretty good. Then we've got defence. Now I'm very happy. The reason why I did that is because of a certain position. But right back, very happy with Angel. Physically, pretty just sharp, decent. Mentally, he's okay. He's got a good work rate. Decision making's okay. Teamwork is good. Bravery is decent. Technically, he's for a fullback. Let's see, marking, tackling. His passing's decent. Long throws can play a part sometimes, I guess. His first touch is good, which is very important, and his passing's decent as well. So he's not amazing, but then again, he's not going to be our first choice right back anyway. So for a second choice right back, he's definitely very a good option to have. Obviously, then we've got Michael Richards, who will be our first first starter right back. If not, we can play him centre back, but I prefer obviously to keep him as a right back. Physically, very good. Technically, passing isn't the best, but it's decent. His marking's very good, heading very good, tackling good, teamwork excellent, work rate excellent, decisions are okay, good determination, very good bravery. So again, things that a fullback should have, and then physically just unreal. So he's all day going to be our first choice right back, all day. No chance he won't be. But then we move on to centre back. Now, Jolie Lescott obviously is going to be the forefront of our defence this year with Richards. In respect that, again, physically, in terms of strength, he's good balance, good jumping, natural fitness is pretty sharp, and for a centre back, he's got decent acceleration, but heading very good, tackling very good, His marking's decent. Again, work rate's up there, determination's up there, bravery's up there. So as a defender, and obviously he's very good at composing, good composure, and position is very good as well. So, yeah, obviously I don't really need to explain too much about Lescott. Obviously, he's a very experienced defender in the Premier League, so always going to be our first choice centre back. But in terms of quality, we haven't got much at the back because realistically, when I thought of it, I thought we'll go Lescott and Akore. Now, Akore's injured, but to look at his stats anyway for when he comes back, obviously, very good player in terms of his physicality, mentally very good in terms of his work rate, determination, decision makings are okay, bravery again up there, tackling's good, passing, marking, heading, first touch is decent. So he was always going to be there for me. Obviously, he's a young centre half as well, so he was always going to be that. But he's out for 2 to 3 months, so quite a while for him to be missing. But in terms of, I guess, 3.5 to 4 star, he's probably it. Them two are it. Whereas Kieran Clark is, what is it? Oh, he's 3.5. Okay, he's decent, but we might be good enough to just stay up. But if one of them gets injured, I just don't think we've got it because the depth isn't strong enough. I'd like to be able to have a couple of 4 stars in there, but maybe that's being greedy. I don't know. Because to be honest, I've never really properly done a Premier League career mode on FM for the whole time I've been playing it. I usually start off with teams in League One or Championship below. Usually start off in the conference, like South and North. So maybe I'm being greedy in saying that, but personally, I'd like to sign a centre back just to back that up. Obviously, we've got Senderos, another very experienced centre half. Mentally good, technically pretty good. Strength and jumping wise, again, good, but just quite slow. But obviously, 30 years old. Yeah, I expect that. And he's okay. He's okay, but starting him probably, we wouldn't be going on to bits, doing bits anyway. Thiago Laurie, now we've got him on loan from Liverpool. Physically, very good. So he's a very quick centre half. Strong. He's not too strong, but if we played him maybe more advanced and maybe Lescott for cover or the other way round, might work. I mean, he'd be quick to get back anyway if he was to step in and go forward, because technically he's not. Technically, his passing is not great, but his heading's good. So if he does run to go up, he'll be able to get back quickly anyway. His natural finish is decent, but yeah, he's not that strong. So would we use him for cover for loose balls? I don't know. That's something obviously we'll think about. But I think him and Lescott could have a half decent partnership this year. Obviously, he's rated decently at 3.5 stars. So I guess, yeah, maybe him and Lescott will be our centre back partnership for now. Then we go on to, well, I suppose my right back still. But again, obviously, Hutton, decent player to have as backup, but maybe our third choice. So again, not bad depth to have in terms of fullbacks. He could play centre half as well, but I don't think he could do a job there. And we've got Bacuna as well. And he could play the whole right hand side. So to be fair, in terms of fullbacks, we're more than capable of, especially down the right hand side, more than capable of doing well there. In terms of left backs, though, I mean, obviously Lescott and Kieran Clark can play left back as well, and so can Crespo. But in terms of quality, Micah Richards has got quality, Lescott's got quality, Guzan's got quality, whereas Armavi has he? I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's got that much quality. I think he's decent, but nothing that's gonna really jump out at me. So obviously with Richards, first thing that jumps out really is obviously his strength, his heading, his marking, his natural fitness, acceleration, things like that. Whereas when you look at Armavi, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but his strength isn't that great. Um, he is quite quick, to be fair. Passing's not the best. Tackling's okay. When you obviously he's going to be coming up against a lot of right mids this season and right wingers, right attacking mids like De Bruyne or De Bruyne, however you want to say it. So is 11 tackling going to be good enough? I don't know. I think he'd be a very good backup, like a very good backup, but not quite that first team quality we're looking for anyway. Going on to holding mid, I think we've got decent. Westwood's okay. I think he would be good enough to hold a defence. Like as it says in here, I think is it this? Yeah, he likes to dictate the tempo. Now I think this is. I've gone through the squad anyway, so I have a sort of idea. But a lot of our centre mids like to dictate the tempo, which I'm a massive fan of because even when we play against the bigger sides, if we've got players that are confident enough to try and dictate things, then we might actually do an half decent job this season, and we might even go further on and go mid-table possibly. So that would be nice to have that confidence in midfield to go and play. And obviously, once we can go play forward and dictate it, once we get it out wide to the quality we've got there, I think we'll do all right. And I think we'll get a lot of goals from purely playing out wide and putting balls in the box. And I'll explain why. Um, I'll explain why in a bit. Obviously, Carlos Sanchez, another, if for me, solid. Quality, technically, probably, I don't think he's the best technically. He's decent. Obviously, his marking's quite good. First touch is very good. Dribbling's not too bad. Um, Passing's okay. So he's decent technically. But mentally, Sanchez looks to be very good. Work weight, work rate is good. Position is decent. Bravery is very good. Composure is very good. Decision making is decent. Teamwork very good. Strength is good for physical. His balance. So he looks decent. And again, he likes to shoot from distance. Doesn't like to play through balls, which I don't think would work for us anyway with the players we've got and probably the players we'll play against. Because when we play against really structured defences and holding midfield players, especially like Schweinsteiger in this game, Schneiderlin, they'll probably nick and intercept them balls quite a lot. So I think it's better that in a way we play a bit safer. Personally, I think we should just play it to the talent we got out wide to then put balls in the box. Now it may sound a bit more route one and a bit more direct, but to stay up in this league with the players we've got, I think that's the way we've got to go. And again, I'll explain when we get to the players out wide why I want and up front why I want to do that. Gay, as I'm sure it's pronounced, again, I think he's a very good player. Naturally, a holding midfield player. His decision making is very good. Very good teamwork. Excellent work rate of 18. Physically very good, apart from his jumping. Tackling's very good. Passing's very good. First touch is good. I like him. I like him a lot. Probably have said his teamwork, his bravery. So he's going to be a key player for us, I think, this year as well. Who else we've got in here? Veretout, I think it's Veretout. Again, another one who likes to dictate the tempo. Again, very good work rate. So our sort of holding and centre mids like to dictate tempo. Got a good work rate, technically quite good. So I think we'll control it a lot in midfield. I don't think we'll be creative enough to play through, purely because maybe the decision making's a bit lower. Their preferred moves generally aren't to play through balls. So technically, I don't think we're good enough to go do that. But I think we're more than good enough to control the game in midfield with possession to then play out wide. And as I keep saying, put balls in the box. So I think we're good enough to do that. And as you can see, like the centre mids we've got are good at dictating tempo, and I'm going to keep saying it, controlling it. So technically, I think I'm quite happy with that. Now, Zogbia, questions raised, and I've been thinking about this, and I'm not quite sure what to do with this because I don't like his preferred moves with the team we've got because he likes to run with the ball through the centre and likes to cut in, which maybe personally for him is good, but personally for me, as I'm going to keep saying, we want to put balls in the box this year, not mess about with that either. Sorry, phone went off there. Yeah, so we want to put balls in the box, and I don't want to mess about with that because there's a lot of quality fullbacks in the Premier League, and as creative as he may be, his decision making is poor, his work rate is poor, his vision isn't the best. Um, his passing is okay, and where's his crossing? His crossing is actually all right, to be fair, but them key things with decision making. So if someone makes a run in the box, is he going to spot that with his, his vision ain't great either. So is he going to spot it, and will he make the decision to do it, or is he going to stand the ball too long and lose it? Which is then going to change transition for the other team to go ahead and like counter attack. And if if he does that against someone like Man City or Chelsea, where they've got a lot of pace going forward and a lot of quality, is that going to hurt us? It most probably will. So do we sell him and get a couple of million and try and bring someone else in, maybe someone a bit younger or someone who is just technically, not a great player, but just technically will just stabilise us to keep us up. So you think about like Swansea, who have they bought players in the Championship, lower end Premier League players, and foreign players as well. Obviously, like Sigurdsson, Bonnie, players like that, where they steal them for cheap, and they're wanted by other Premier League teams at that sort of level, develop them, end up selling them for more, or in fact keep them and end up progressing really well. So like Sigurdsson, obviously Wilfred Bonny, who obviously they sold to Man City. They've got Gomez now. Just players like that are going to stabilise them really. I don't think Charles Nzogby is that sort of. I don't think he's going to cut it in terms of Villa. So I think if they sell him, or if we sell him and then get the money and maybe try and get someone on the cheap, that might solve that problem. There is a couple of someone I really like, Jack Grealish. Now I don't think technically at the moment he's probably not there in terms of because it's all well and good obviously with his crossing being good and his like first touch and all that, but what I quite like with wingers as well is when they lose the ball, can they go and nick it back? With a high work rate. And obviously, at the moment, I don't think his work rate is necessarily really good. It's decent, but obviously his decision making's got to be right. His crossing is good though. So as I say, he's not terrible. I think he's good enough to be able to start every week and do a job. And he's young enough to go and improve as well. But his tackling is really probably not there. Marking, which obviously when we're defending as a unit as well, it's not gonna help. His heading's all right, to be fair, for a winger. Free kicks aren't that great, so it'd be nice to have a good free kick taker, but don't think he's gonna do that. And there's no chance they're gonna sell him. No chance. Who else? Carlos Gil, he looks pretty good. Physically, he looks quite decent actually. Uh, Again, just looks like a normal, decent player for them. To be fair, nothing special, just someone that's going to do an half decent job and do well. Valued at 5 mil, so would get a decent amount from him, but he's definitely good enough. I mean, his decision making looks quite decent. Work rate's okay. Teamwork's decent. Good vision. Really good determination as well in the player. So all things for, especially for an attacking mid as well, that's good because obviously the more determined he is, the more he's going to chase down balls and might nick something. So decent, definitely decent. His dribbling's very good as well. So yeah, definitely a good player that they need. And I don't think, to be fair, I don't look at the Villa lineup enough in real life to know if he's playing enough or actually doing those things anyway. So I don't really know too much about him. Um, who here? Scott Sinclair. Always a frustrating one because he was doing so well at Swansea, and then he just obviously. I don't blame him for going Man City because obviously money, Man City, they needed English players as they still do now. Might have thought he was actually going to start, and he did start the first game that they signed him as well. I think it was against West Brom, and he just sort of faded under the radar, sort of like Jack Rodwell did, really. And it's the same with Rodwell as well in that respect, although he doesn't play for Villa, so it's not as relevant. But yeah, it's a frustrating one because I think he could have been a lot better if his development was better a couple of years ago. But nonetheless, he's still quite decent at the moment. His finishing's very good, dribbling good. Um, but apart from physically, with his pace, his decision making isn't that good. Um, Technique's okay, vision's quite poor, and obviously for a winger, not the best to have poor vision. Doesn't need much leadership. Flair's okay, um, not very composed. So I've saying that though, his crossing could be better, but with his dribbling, will he be enough for him? But I think, as I said, Villa need to put enough balls in the box this season because of who we've got up front. Um, Before going on to the front players, though, Gary Gardner, another sort of, well, he's 23 now, so he is getting on a little bit, but he's still got potential to do quite well. Um, I believe, anyway. Work rate's okay. Just again looks like a normal, decent player. I think. Um, yeah, just looks like a normal, decent player, really. Um, First touch is average, but someone I think that could definitely be developed anyway. 23 years old, isn't worth a lot. I thought he was going to be a lot better, but then again, he hasn't started loads and loads of games. Under, don't think he started a lot under Lambert. Definitely hasn't under Sherwood. So I don't know if he would have been much better though if he was played. He did look decent, but obviously not good enough to start for Villa, who have been in a bit of turmoil. So um, physically, again, just average. Joe Cole, hmm, he's not worth a lot, but with he's fairly determined. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge. So would he have been worth something for even just for the dressing room, even if he isn't playing? Possibly. Mentally, a very good player. Technically, crossing's very good, dribbling's good. His first touch has always been decent. Long shots. Well, I mean, I need to see his goal against Sweden like nearly 10 years ago to know his finishing from long range has always been quite decent. Um, but it seems to be a common word when talking about the Villa squad, though, just saying decent, which is probably why they are where they are at the moment. Because I mean, you look through most Premier League teams, and there's always quality somewhere. Now, I know I said obviously about Richards and Guzan having that bit of quality as well, but like real like quality. So um, even Swansea, like Sigurdsson's got. I'm going to use him as an example again. Like great quality, like free kicks on the ball technique. Even John Joe Shelby, like believe it or not, whether people like him or not, he's got great quality on the ball, great technique. Um, Very good at controlling the ball. Again, got a bit of flair about him from long range. So again, a very good player. Whereas when talking about the Villa squad, it always seems to be just decent, which nowadays probably just isn't good enough. Um, in terms of potential now, though, Adama Traore, obviously looking at his history, has started for Barca, but obviously he's never really been a coup for him. So Villa have bought him, so obviously Barca haven't thought much of him. But then again, Barca got rid of Alexis Sanchez, and he's an absolute player. So playing a lot for Barcelona B, he's done okay. Needs to sort of prove himself now, though. And I think with obviously physically, he's very good. Um, I expect a player of his age to be well, not very high. Um, Dribbling is very good though for a 19-year-old. It's quite exceptional to have dribbling that good. Um, like usually, they just improve over the like years. So like Joe Cole's, sorry, who's dribbling? I say a while ago it was quite decent. If it was either Grealish or Joe Cole was just talking about, like his dribbling again is quite good, but obviously he's at the peak of, or past the peak of his career. So you'd expect technically his dribbling to be good anyway. Whereas Traore's just naturally got really good dribbling. His technique is naturally very good as well. Obviously, he was at Barcelona, so he's got a bit about him, but still a lot for him to go anyway, especially in the Premier League. Like, he's got to prove himself massively. Um, Agbonlahor, same. I mean, he's only 28. He's been about for years. About for years. Again, not. I don't like the fact that he wants to cut inside. Like he likes to cut inside a lot because I just feel that with the strike force, even when Benteke was there, the strike force that they've got need Villa need to be putting balls in the box. Like when Benteke went to Liverpool, I remember Sherwood saying, "Oh, like he doesn't suit Liverpool because they don't cross the ball in the box enough, or they don't put enough balls in the box, or whatever like that." And to be fair, I agree in respect because when they stayed up last year, all Villa seemed to do was controlling midfield, well, sort of. With the players they had, they couldn't control it as much, but at times done quite well in midfield to then go out wide to then just whip the balls in the box, whether that be Sinclair, obviously near the end of the season, and even Bakuna when he was going forward was quite good at putting balls in the box for Benteke just to get a nod on. Um, Obviously with Gested now at Villa, who we're going to go on to, who I want to speak about in a minute. It's it's quite ledge. Physically, still very quick though. I mean, he is only 28, but still. Hmm. I mean, work rate again, very good. Um, so I think for that he's got to stay. Just obviously he's been a Villa man since well day one, I believe. If we look at his history. All right, he went on Watford on loan once, but apart from that, been playing since well, he's been there since 2000. So he's been there a very long time. So I think he's got to stay. Um, Jordan Ayew, very very interesting. I quite like the look of him. Finishing's quite decent. Technique quite good. Determination very good. Decision making's okay. But physically, just a very good player as well. So I think he could possibly not be a key player, but be enough to get like 10 goals and help the team out. Because obviously, you don't need loads and loads of goals on your side to stay up. Because obviously, I mean, Charlie Austin scored 18 last year. QPR finished bottom. So you don't necessarily need someone that's going to get you 20 odd goals a season, but just goals all over the pitch. And I think Ayew, when coming on, whether he play out wide or up top, will get you collectively team goals. So in when I say team goals, not in fact of helping others out, I mean purely for himself because obviously his teamwork ain't that great. But I think he'll get there at some point. Now I think it will improve. He's still young, relatively young anyway. But if we're going on to Gested now, um, heading is, I think that's got to stand out. His heading and his jumping reach, which is why when I say obviously for Villa getting balls out wide to put in the box, when you've got a player that technically probably isn't good at dribbling, passing isn't the best, so he's not going to be able to link up with many people. He's okay at long shots. He's not the quickest player, obviously because of his height. And as it says there, like he plays with his back to the goal, with his back to goal. I mean, if he played with his back to goal and he was really good at passing and things like that, it probably would work in terms of his link-up play with maybe an attacking mid or another centre forward. But because he's not technically that great and his heading is just unreal, surely the tactic is to just as I'm going to keep saying, dictate the play in midfield, get out wide, and don't mess about it out wide. I mean, if you can take on a man or two, great, but whip it in and get Gested to just go in there. Like his decision making is good, work rate is okay, off the ball is decent, very strong, good balance, and his jumping, reach, and heading is unreal. So yeah, he's got to be. I think he'll be a great player this season for them in terms of getting goals. Anyway, on here, so if we go on, if we go through the 21s to see if there's any players that are right, let's have a look. I think I was looking through earlier, trying to decide if there's any real sort of quality 21s, and I'd say there's one that I quite like, which is Callum Robinson. Was it on loan at Preston? Was it last year? Let's have a look. Yeah, so on loan at Preston last year, obviously on loan at Bristol City this year. Um, could be decent now. So he's not far off Jordan Ayew, really. But he'll definitely be good for championship football, which is what he needs. So keep him on loan. But his finishing's quite, he's pretty good. Dribbling's good. Crossing's decent. Work rate, very good. Decision making is a young English player, fair enough. Stamina's good. Acceleration's decent. Um, what else really shows? I guess his technique's good for a 20-year-old as well. So definitely potential to be a very good player. So in terms of that, we'll keep him out on loan, and then next season, I reckon he'd be all right, good enough to start. Um, Maybe with Gested in a 4-4-2. Even if you was to play it to Gested and he was to sort of do a Fellaini really, like if you just play Gested in attacking mid and just get him to do flick-ons or um, play it for, not play it through, but if he was to hold it up for Robinson or another centre forward to then strike, then that might work. I don't think that might work with Ayew this season, possibly. If we look at, if we hang on, quickly look at the finishing, would that work? If we're talking about the squad now as it is, finishing is pretty good, so that possibly would work. And his determination is good. So if he was to just set it, maybe it might work. Quite like the look of that. Okay. Well, only other thing really now is obviously the staff. So I've put in for that um, for an assistant manager and normal coaches. Obviously, got enough goalkeeper coaches, got head of youth development, two fitness coaches, a lot of scouts. So that's very good. Physios aren't the best ever, so I've asked for another physio. But that green line there sort of represents obviously the best in the English Premier League, and that sort of shows. I think that's just because there's no general coaches or assistant manager. Once we get that, it'll probably zoom up. But keeper coaching is decent. Judging player potential is fifth best. Judging player ability is seventh best. So very good in terms of our scouting. Um, Obviously the coaching will improve once we get people in. But I think that's it in terms of obviously talking about Villa and what we want to do this year. Obviously it's taken a long time to go through all that. But really good for obviously to see what what we're going to go for. Yeah, for what they want to go for, how we're going to play. Not really decided how we're going to use the players as of yet, but going through that's given me a bit of an idea now. So I'm quite excited really to start building the tactics and hang on, just move that. Yeah, of putting the tactics together and the instructions and seeing how that actually works in the league. So next time when we come back, let me just stick this on. I thought I could hear something. Thought I heard something. Yeah. So in terms of next time we come back, it's going to be first game of the season, which is against Crystal Palace away. So that'll be the first fixture. I'm going to skip all pre-season, update everything that's gone in, update on the tactics, and then so next one will just be about what we've done in pre-season, who's been decent, play the first game, and that'll be the end of that, and that'll be number 2. So looking forward to that. I've really got into that actually in terms of talking. It's gone on for about 36 minutes now, so I didn't mean for it to go on for that long. It was purely me just venting and thinking. So, no, thanks for watching. Really do appreciate all of listening for me, my mind just going off. I'll show you more about my coaching stats next time, and we'll go through that as well. Go through that. But if this could smash 10 likes, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but for me that'd be, amazing. 10 likes would be incredible. Please, thanks for, liking, subscribing, and this will be daily, these Aston Villa things. It won't be this long. This is just obviously the start of video to go through the whole squad. And when you go through the whole squad and a couple of 21s, it does take a while. But that won't be the case from now on. So they will be shorter videos. They'll probably be about, hopefully, 15, 20 minutes long, and they'll be daily as well. Plus, I've got my Twitch. Obviously, I'm doing another career over there. So if you want to jump on that, there'll definitely be links on my Twitter, which is @DanTheGaffer7. There'll be links in the bio, everything like that. So thanks for watching. If it could smash 10 likes, that'd be great. Thank you very much for watching. And if this wants to come up here, and I'll see you next time.